That's why UFC is so popular. That's why I've been talking about this sport on this show about as long or longer than anybody else in the mainstream media. That's why I jumped in. I mean, holy bleep. I don't know how many times I've seen that, and I'm still stunned. In a sport where you should never be stunned, I am still stunned by that. Leon Edwards knocking out Kamaru Usman in the final minute of the final round of a championship fight that he was about to lose. I'll say it again. Holy crap. A massive underdog beating the greatest welterweight of all time, the pound-for-pound current king, and one of the greatest fighters to ever step in the cage. And to do it like that. I mean, for years I've been saying that the best thing about MMA and the UFC in particular is that anybody can get beat. Anybody can be beaten by anybody. Everybody loses at some point. Everybody. It's not like any other sport. It's not like football. It's not like basketball. It's not like boxing. It's not like any other sport on the planet because anybody can get beat by anybody at any time, and they all do. Even the guys who are not supposed to lose, lose. I mean, the thing that's not supposed to happen, that can't happen, actually did happen in Salt Lake City on Saturday night. Victory. What they were talking about was Edwards surviving for 5 rounds. Like they were saying, one more minute and he has a moral victory, and he's not about that generally, but. And then bam. Again, those who know, know. But for those who do not know or those who have not gotten into the sport, that does not happen. That can't happen. That has never happened to Usman before. That's not just the pound-for-pound champ getting knocked the bleep out. That is the pound-for-pound champ getting knocked the bleep out in the final minute of the final round of a fight that he'd already won. I mean, it's insane. Like, the word stunning does not begin to do it justice. I was so shocked. I felt like my face had been caved in by that left foot. I felt like I was the one who leaned into that shot and absorbed it. I felt like I was every bit as shocked as Usman, and I was in my living room 600 miles away. That's the one moment that you want from sports, but you never get, right? And we just got it. A moment like that comes along, what, once a decade? Kirk Gibson homering off Eck, maybe? But not even, because the Dodgers still had to win 3 more games. Edwards landed that left foot and didn't have to do anything else. He finished that kick, and that was it. He could celebrate. He dropped that Billy strut. He knew. We all knew. I would say that Usman knew, but he was asleep before he even hit the ground. And again, the crazy thing is, Usman had won that fight already. He was dominating that fight. He was heading to the finish line only to have Edwards blindside him with a Mack truck. Yeah, I know, in every sport, anything can technically happen, but in the UFC, it actually does happen. For instance, the Detroit Lions are not winning the Super Bowl this year. The Orlando Magic are not winning an NBA title in the next few months. But in UFC, anything can happen, and it just did. Again, this is why I talk so much about this sport. This is why I love this sport. This is why this sport is not like anything else. And I'm not looking to say that Leon Edwards is the Detroit Lions of fighting. He's not. Far from it. This guy's a stud. He had not lost since Usman got him 7 years ago. He's legit. It's just that Kamaru Usman has spent the last 7 years on another level entirely. You know, and for all that talk that anybody can be beaten, I mean, I say it all the time myself, Usman had never been beaten in UFC, ever. 15 straight wins, and he was looking to tie Anderson Silva's record of 16 straight and was less than 60 seconds away from doing that, and so much more. Remember, this is a guy that went in as the welterweight champ with 5 straight title defenses. He had cleaned out that division. He had lapped it. He was coming back around to beat guys for a second time. And he was talking about moving up not just one division, but 2 divisions just for a challenge. Like, that's how dominant this guy had been. He needed something else to do. Pound for pound, best in the world. And just last week, Dana White and I were talking on this show about how a win on Saturday night, and then we're talking about maybe the greatest of all time. But he got beat. One of the greatest of all time got beat in the final minute of a fight that he had already won. Less than 60 seconds away from history and immortality. And I've just got to say one more time, he got knocked the bleep out. There was no getting up from that shot. He was out before he hit the ground. Usman ducking to avoid the Edwards left fist and brought his head right into the path of Edwards' left foot. And that foot hit him like a freight train, wrecking a parked car. I mean, like, the initial viewing was stunning, but then the slow-mo replays were even more brutal. Usman, arguably the best ever, allegedly, looking like a crash test dummy. And again, like I said, not a fight that he was just about to win, but a fight that he had dominated. In fact, it was so bad. After the fourth round, Edwards' corner was screaming, quote, "Come on, man. What's bleeping wrong with you?"
Come on.
No, but not come on. Like, come on.
Come on.
With the F-bomb. What's bleeping wrong with you? And 4 minutes and 4 seconds later, they got their answer. Absolutely bleeping nothing wrong. Edwards was done until he wasn't. And that, again, is the beauty of MMA. That's the beauty of UFC. That's why Dana White, for more than 2 decades, has said that this could be the biggest sport in the world, because it is the simplest sport in the world. It's fighting, right? You don't need to understand it to understand it. You don't need to love the sport and study technique to know that one dude just turned out the lights on another dude with his foot. Like, football can be pretty technical and tough to understand. I mean, even baseball to a certain extent. And hockey, not MMA. Yes, there are lots of different disciplines, but it's really pretty simple. 2 guys enter, 1 leaves as the winner. Or in the case of Saturday night in Salt Lake City, 2 fighters enter, 1 leaves with a belt, and 1 heads to the hospital. And the other thing about that sport, it always delivers. Always. Even when you think you've seen greatness, even when you know who's going to win, and it's just a matter of spinning a little more clock, something like that happens. Usman thought he was good. Usman thought that he was safe. Any other sport, what do? You take a knee, then it's over. Nobody's scoring 4 touchdowns in 60 seconds. Just like no basketball game. That's a team putting up 20 points in less than a minute. But MMA is different. Anything can happen, and it did, and that's another example of that. So, yes, I spent a lot of time laying that out for you, but I want to make very clear this is why that sport is so great. Everybody loses. Everybody. And that's no lucky shot. Credit for landing that shot. And it was an amazing shot.